Well, that weren't too bad, was it, boy?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you happen to be watching this. Welcome back to another video on the channel of Our Opinion, the show where I get you guys to get involved on Twitter when I ask a random question about football and you guys leave me your opinion. I give my 2 cents, hence Our Opinion. Today we're talking about England and the recent friendlies that have happened. We beat Holland 1-0 on their own patch in the Amsterdam Arena, and then we came back to Wembley and drew 1-1 with Italy. Now, on the whole, I thought we played pretty well. I was really impressed with what Gareth Southgate has got going on at the moment, if I'm being honest. He's picking players in his squad that he knows and that he trusts and that have a certain way of playing and have an identity of playing. And I think that's the crucial thing. Previously, when you've watched England teams, they've just brought the best players in the country together, and it's a kind of a mismatch, and no one really knows the style that they're playing. I mean, under Capello, under Sven-Göran Eriksson, under McLaren, there was no real sort of identity as to how we played, and especially under Roy Hodgson. I mean, that guy was clueless. Under Gareth Southgate, it seems to be that we know how we're going to play. We know the passing range, we know the speed that we've got, we know the tactics. Everything is going quite nicely. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not jumping way ahead of conclusions. I'm not going to go out there and say that we're going to win the World Cup like some people. Let's be realistic. But what we have seen has been quite promising. So let's get into the games that we actually had and let's talk about it. So the first one was Friday night against Holland. We won 1-0 over there. Now, look, it is a very poor Netherlands team. Let's not get away from that. It's absolutely shocking. When you think about who they've actually got in their team, if you are relying on Memphis Depay to be the main man to get you goals, you know that you've got issues as a country. I mean, that bloke is just poor. He's just so bad. They've got a couple of decent players in there, and they're obviously trying a new style of football as well. So Ronald Koeman's come in and he's completely taken the whole of the country back, and he's saying, right, let's do things properly now. So it's going to take a long while for them to develop, but they were really bad. But in terms of the England team, when he first set it up, I was looking at the tactics. It was obviously we were going to play the 3-4-3, but he has 4 fullbacks in there in Walker, Trippier, Rose and Gomez. So naturally that caused alarm bells straight away. But Walker played on the right of the centre backs, Gomez, and then it was Stones on the left. Sorry, I had to quickly check the starting line up there. And to be honest, the game was really good from an England perspective. Passing was good, it was sharp, it was crisp. We were playing long balls diagonally across to the wing backs. It was, you know, attacking with pace. The front 4 of Sterling, Rashford, Lingard and Oxlade-Chamberlain were really impressive. Oxlade-Chamberlain and Henderson in the middle just created enough energy and enough of a shield that the moment we got the ball, it was boom, let's get forward as quickly as possible. And I think, in all honesty, if you stick Harry Kane in that team, we would have won about 3 or 4-0, because Harry Kane just gives you that kind of focal point that when you are attacking, you've got someone to kind of go to. Because Rashford's used to playing on the left, he kept dropping him deep. Sterling's used to playing out right, he kept dropping him deep. Lingard was kind of playing in a free in midfield with also Oxlade-Chamberlain and Henderson. So he was kind of having to do a lot of defensive stuff, but then when he broke forward, he was always sitting behind where a striker should be. So I think if you got a focal point in amongst that team, then happy days. We would have won quite comfortably. But in the end, it was only 1-0. Jesse Lingard got a very good goal. Again, you could question whether or not the goalkeeper should have done better, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to get into that whole debate. But on the whole, it was very good. Unfortunately for Gomez, he got injured quite early on, but Maguire came on and did very well. Looked very comfortable, was quite easy on the ball, was passing around quite nicely. And that is what Gareth Southgate wants. The people who play in the defence have got to be able to pass out from the back. It's as simple as that. And it goes for the same for the goalkeepers. Because I've done a video about goalkeepers and who should be our number 1. I said that Jack Butland should be. But Jordan Pickford actually looked, on the odd occasion, he had a few moments here or there, but he actually looked quite comfortable and was really pleasing to see him passing the ball around as well, considering he's not asked to do that an awful lot at Everton. But I think the moment we started making all of our subs in like the 70th minute, when we made our 3 subs and we brought the likes of Ali, Vardy, Welbeck and Young on, I think the game just completely slowed down and came to a halt. Dele Alli gave the ball away so many times. He was the only negative from the night that I can really remember. We ended up winning 1-0. It was a good performance. We moved on to Italy. So last night's performance saw us change a couple of things. Obviously, Jack Butland came in goal. How did he do? Do you know what? From an actual goalkeeping point of view, there was not really an awful lot for him to deal with. But on the ball, he's very good at making the diagonal passes out to the fullbacks or getting the ball kind of to the halfway line and getting it to a man. But his short passing does need a little bit of work on. And that's why I actually think that Southgate will pick Pickford ahead of Butland. I don't think he should, personally. I think Jack Butland should be number one. But I think that, honestly, Jordan Pickford will be number one in the World Cup. And then we had Kyle Walker, John Stones, and then Tarkowski got his debut. And I have to say, absolutely superb from James Tarkowski. That guy is quality. He was so commanding. He was literally jumping into tackles. He was getting there ahead of the man. He was intercepting everything. His passing was absolutely brilliant. I mean, the way that some of his passing in the first half, where he was just getting the ball through so many of the Italian midfielders, was just absolutely incredible. He was really, really good. John Stones, on the other hand, oh my days. First 15 minutes, what the hell was he thinking about? So nervous. He gave away 2 gilt-edge opportunities. And if Immobile had been more on it, we could have been 2-0 down within the first 20 minutes. But after that, he calmed down. And again, he was literally in there straight away, intercepting balls, calm on it. Passing was then very good, but the first 15-20 minutes was very shaky, and he's got to get that out of his game. Kyle Walker at the centre-back position, oh my days. Where did that tactical genius come from? If I had a hat, I'd take it off to... Hang on, I do. Well, that went well. So yeah, Kyle Walker did really well. I think for Man City, you tend to see him... He does bomb up and down the right wing quite a lot. So I think that was the kind of question mark for a lot of England fans as to, well, why is he doing that for Man City and not for England? When you actually watch him for Man City, he does spend quite a lot of his time in a central position and only attacking as and when he wants to. So that was very pleasing. Trippier had a good performance. Ashley Young, I really rate Ashley Young. I think he's quality. Was really impressed with him, and he's coming back into the England team. He's been brilliant for Man United, and it's only right that he gets his opportunity for England as well. Eric Dyer, he does what he does. He is a centre back who's playing in midfield, and as a centre back, he's just a no nonsense. I win the tackle and I make the short pass. It depends on how you want to use Eric Dyer as to whether or not you're going to get the best out of him. I would personally put him in the 3 centre-backs in the centre, just so that you can keep that proper defensive solid unit there, because I think in midfield he doesn't offer an awful lot, and I think it's a wasted position that could be there for somebody else. Oxlade-Chamberlain had an alright match. Raheem Sterling was absolutely fantastic. I don't care what anybody else says, I rate Raheem Sterling. He's just such a different player under Pep Guardiola. He now knows where to be, what pass to make, who's there, what runners are there. There was one point during the game where he collected the ball, and I think he had 3 players running along with him. And he had someone off to the left and someone off to the right. And the crowd were literally shouting at him to make a pass. And he held on to it to the right moment where we got to the box, and then he played it off to the left-hand side. And it was only thanks to some good defending that the Italian defender then recovered and tackled the guy who's Sterling passed her. I can't remember who it was. But he's just so much better on the ball. He's so composed now. If he can just get the finishing that he has with Man City into the England team, we're laughing. Lingard had another very good game. It was his quick thinking which led to the goal. Vardy finished, absolutely thunderbolt finish. For me, I like Vardy, but I think he's more of an impact player. I'd be bringing him on with games that we've got to chase down and got to harry the defence. If we're 1-0 up, bring him on and he can cause the defenders kind of issues and really harry the defence. But you can't overlook Harry Kane. Sorry, but you just can't, in my opinion. Vardy's an impact player, but take nothing away from him from his performance last night. He was very good and the goal was superb. But overall, it was nice to see Lallana get back some minutes, and he's got to start playing for Liverpool, get some fitness going. Rashford came on and didn't have that much of a, didn't have that great of a game. He was very reluctant to go in for headers. He just kept dropping too deep. Henderson came on and didn't really do an awful lot. Lewis Cook came on and again didn't really do an awful lot. Didn't have too much of a ball, of the ball. But overall, I'm very happy. Very, very happy. The only disappointment is that I would have liked to have seen us play Jack Wilshere, and I think him getting injured during his international spell, I think that's it for the World Cup. I can't see Gareth Southgate picking him. You've only got 23 players you can choose from going into a competition like the World Cup. Southgate likes players that he can rely on, that he can trust. You cannot rely on Jack Wilshere to stay fit, and for all the good stuff that he does, and he's a very good player, if you can't stay fit, you're not going to get into this team, and I do worry for him. On ability, he's one of the best midfielders we've got, hands down. No question about it. But from a fitness point of view, I think that's his chance blown. But what do you think? Is Jack Wilshere going to make the England squad? Let me know down in the comment section below. But I asked you guys about your opinions on how you rated the games from the other night, and this I gave ratings out of 10 for the Holland performance, and these are the results right now. And I asked you guys to get involved on Twitter as well to leave me your thoughts about the Holland game and also the Italy game. So let's start with the Holland game. We had Terry Foreman get in contact again. Thank you, Terry, for your continued support, mate. Really does mean a lot. Said Holland looked bang average. I think the England team is, but would be more worried if I was a Dutch fan, as they look terrible. I can't disagree with that, mate. England team is not. It now has an identity and a way of playing, and I like it. It's just nice to see us have some type of game plan and know what we're doing. But yes, if I'm a Dutch fan, I'm really concerned. Tim Scales also got in contact. Again, thank you very much, Tim, again for your continued support. He got in contact and said 2 parts on here. He gave it a 7 out of 10, but Holland are very poor compared to the teams that we will face in the later stages in Russia. The way we played out from the back was very encouraging. Walker at centre-back was very good. Again, can't disagree with that. Front three sometimes a bit detached from the rest of the game. Oxlade-Chamberlain did well. Also a bit alarming how going in front the subs killed all of our threat. Can't afford to do that against better opposition. Tim, 100% agree with that. The moment we start making subs, the game plan and our threat just completely dropped a level. It just dropped. And the World Cup, if you make subs, they've got to make an impact. They cannot afford to be like they were against Holland in the World Cup. So that has got to improve. But thank you, Tim, for getting in contact. And then in terms of the Italy match, here are the ratings out of 10 that you guys voted for on Twitter. And I will also ask you guys to get in contact, and Cookie FM contacted me and said it was an average performance against Italy. First half was poor. I don't agree with that. The first 15-20 minutes were bad. Okay, maybe I kind of agree with that. And we could have been 2-0 down by defensive mistakes. Better in the second half, but still not great. VAR does work, but the execution is piss poor. Standout performers for me were Walker, Lingard and Oxlade-Chamberlain until he got booked. Yeah, Oxlade-Chamberlain, he can't afford to do that in an actual game. Just petty the way that he got booked in that game. Lingard and Walker were absolutely brilliant last night. For me, that was not a penalty, and I know people will say, oh, he's English, he's only saying that because he, got the decision against him, but you can see that in terms of watching the replay, the guy who was defending on the right, which I think was Tarkowski, was pulling his foot out and didn't actually contact him. He was going down, and as he was going down, he then contacted our player. So I think it was a dive, and it shouldn't have been given as a penalty, but it was. We've got to get used to it. But VAR kills the atmosphere in the game. But I'm going to get into it. I'm going to do a different video about this because VAR, I can't stand it. But I don't want to get too much into it because I realise I've got well over 10 minutes on this video. So we're going to stop it here. What do you think about the England games? What do you think about the results that we had? Are you encouraged by the performances? Who deserves to be in your World Cup squad? Let me know down in the comment section below. I will reply to every single one of them. If you want to be involved in the next video, follow me on Twitter, and down in the description below is a link to my Twitter. go and follow me, and I will read out every single comment that is left to me. I promise you that. Like I said, let me know what your thoughts are on England at the moment. And yeah, that'll be it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, until we see each other next time, adios.